Welcome guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you are interested in self-development, working from home, and entrepreneurship, you are at the right place. Today, I've taken the liberty of creating this video in response to a request by Father Ken Lau in one of my posts. He said, Anna, I learned a lot from this video, especially about the prepositions. I look forward to watching your video about prepositions. Thank you, Father Ken, for taking the time to watch my video, and it's my pleasure to do that for you and, of course, for everyone else who's following my channel. So here we go. I cannot stress enough how important it is that we communicate as effective as possible because communication plays a very vital role in our everyday life as we relate to others and even to ourselves. And here's the truth. The language we speak can either make or break us. But why? Because the reason why we communicate is to relay our intended message. And the problem arises when confusion takes place. But how? Well, it is by our mere use of some words that are not supposed to be used in the first place. Although experts say that language is an art rather than a science, we still need to at least know the very basics, especially when it relates to the way we communicate in both written or spoken words through our speech. And talking about speech, there are actually 9 parts of it. And in today's video, I'm going to emphasize just one of them, which usually creates confusion because it's quite an extensive topic, and it's called a preposition. So what is a preposition? It is a word that shows a relationship between a noun or a pronoun and some other words in the sentence. It is used before a noun phrase, or a pronoun to connect it to another word. For example, the ball is under the table. The word under is a preposition as it shows a relationship between the ball and the table. There are 2 kinds of a preposition, simple and compound. Simple, as the word implies, consists of one word only. For example, in, on, at, with, against, under. While compound preposition has 2 or more words. For example, instead of, in the middle of, by the side of. We know that a preposition's main function is to express a relationship between words, such as a noun or a pronoun and another word. Also, a preposition can be expressed in different ways and scenarios, and the most common ones include the position of something, such as the location or the place, the time when something happens, and the movement or the way in which something is done. Although we almost always encounter the 9 simple prepositions that I have mentioned to you earlier, such as with, at, by, to, in, for, from, of, and on, that we use in our everyday conversations or those that we hear from other people, I'm going to discuss one preposition function that describes place and then a little bit of location thereafter. And I will include both simple and compound prepositions in my examples. And here are some of the most common prepositions that describe place. Under simple, we have in, on, at, under, between, above, across, through, over, into, onto, towards, from. And then under the compound, we do have next to, in front of, close to. And let me give you a visual illustration for your better understanding and remembering with my best examples for each. As promised, this is one of my visuals that demonstrates the series of prepositions that I'm going to teach you, especially for this one, that talks about the preposition in. And I want you to pay attention to the red ball, which is inside the box. Okay? So when you'd like to use the preposition in, imagine either a person or an object is inside a bigger space. For example, I say, I live in Canada, or Carl is in the car. Now we go to on. Means on top of, attached to, along the side of. It is also used for showing some methods of traveling or when we are talking about a floor in a house or a building. It is also used when we are determining as to whether it's on the left or on the right. For example, I say, the book is on the table. My store is on the first floor. Under means lower than or covered by something else, or simply means under an object. For example, I say, the pillow is under the chair, or the cat is under the table. Next to means just right beside something or not far away in distance. It can also mean by the side of, beside, and near. For example, the boy is beside her mom. She sits next to me. Behind means at the back of something. For example, I will hang my belt behind the door. Kim sits behind Kyle in class. In front of means before the object or further forward than someone or something. For example, Sandra talked to the lady in front of her. I saw him cry in front of me. Between means in the middle of or into the space that separates two places, people, or objects. For example, the store is between my office and her shop. My car is parked between big trucks. Moving on to the next set of prepositions that I promised to talk about, the prepositions of location that are very common in our everyday conversations. And here are the three most common ones. Starting off with the general one, the preposition in. And then the more specific one, the preposition on. And then the very specific, which is the preposition at. For you to have a better understanding on how these three common prepositions of location are being used, I'd like you to take a look at this triangle where you will find the preposition in at the lowermost part, which occupies the widest space that can be translated into being more of a generic type. And then the preposition on, which is right in the middle, which is also getting narrower and more specific as compared to the preposition in. Now, you'll find on top of it is the preposition at, which signifies a very specific location or area. So how do we apply the use of these prepositions to our communication through our speech? In is used as it relates to location when we are talking about, let's say, a country, a city, or a neighborhood. For example, I live in Canada. I was in Chinatown last year. She lives in the city of Pickering. As I have discussed, the preposition on is used for a more specific or narrower description of a location, such as streets, corners, and avenues. For example, Paul lives on the corners of Madison and Keele. The last one, the preposition at. You use the preposition at for the exact address or a very, very specific location. For example, his office is located at 55 Bow Street, London, Ontario. And yes, it's quiz time! Fill in the blank with the correct preposition for each sentence. And as usual, I'll give the answers towards the end, okay? Number 1, I will study blank the room. I saw Susie blank the bus stop. The church is blank the left. I stood up and walked blank the door. Nathan ran blank the bridge. And here are the answers highlighted in red. I will study in the room. I saw Susie at the bus stop. The church is on the left. I stood up and walked towards the door. Nathan ran over the bridge. Preposition is quite a broad topic, and as I have mentioned to you previously, there are so many ways where this part of speech can be expressed. And if at some point you feel confused as to what specific preposition to use in a sentence, this visual illustration that I have used representing a ball in a box can definitely help you remember more effectively. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again in my next video. So again, I invite you to please subscribe, like, and share this video so you will be notified of the information I'm going to be sharing in the near future. And I'll see you again next time. Godspeed!